Radio for Skaro.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Scarl, episode number 742. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
And Peter in Sweden.
Yes, Peter Harness, writer of the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion, who will be live tweeting about those stories in mere hours after this episode drops, joins us from your chicken farm in Sweden.
Yes.
Lovely to have you back on the show, Peter. How are you doing?
Oh, it's fantastic to be back. I'm just fine, really. It's quite boring. There's not a hell of a lot going on. Yeah, fine under the circumstances.
Yeah, I was saying before we started recording that the four of us are privileged enough to be bored. I know there are a lot of people who don't have the luxury of being bored during a global pandemic, so we'll take being bored as a win. Yeah, I mean, you're a writer. Are there things for you to write that don't necessarily are like, you know, slated to go into production anytime soon or something? Like, is that something that you could actually fill the time with, actual work?
Well, it's very hard to be constructive. I mean, I've thought that I should try and get ahead of myself and do all of those ideas that I've had. And I find it quite hard to be bothered. I do have one or two things that I should be doing, but mostly I've taken to forging letters from minor television personalities of the 1980s to my own childhood self in the 1980s, which has been wonderful. And I've been posting those on Facebook. And also I've taken to making more or less disturbing videos of myself and posting those on Facebook. And I have had some concerned friends ringing and wondering whether I'm all right, but I feel I'm just flowering. This is a flowering. I'm revealing my true self.
Right.
So that's where the channel down which my creative juices are currently running.
Well,
yes.
Yeah, well, I just, you know, because Kill the Moon, the moon blows up. Zygon, two-parter, there's a great global crisis. War of the Worlds, obviously a great global... I mean, cataclysmic world events are sort of your thing. So when reality meets you halfway, this is your outlet.
Just forge letters from Blue Peter. I mean,
it's the way to do it. You know, as a writer, how does your outlook? Do you think will your outlook of what stories you write and what stories you pitch for TV shows and stuff? Would you think that will change given how we've lived or will have lived through by the time you're back into production? Will that change because of all this?
I don't think anybody will be remotely interested in watching things about apocalypses or dystopias. No. Everybody will just want the most lovely and fluffy and funny things that's possible. And this is one thing that makes it hard to write, and I'm not really writing anything in my usual miserable vein of total horror and end of the worldness. I've kind of started trying to write some things which are slightly more cheerful. So I haven't got any of those on the boil, but I know a lot of people who are writing things are paralyzed because the world has changed and is going to change so much that it's almost impossible to think of telling the stories that you were telling. So it's quite tricky. But I think people. The great thing is that people obviously still want to be entertained. But I think we'll have to be very entertaining from now on, and a bit less miserable.
Mm-hmm. We had Paul Wilmshurst, director of Your
did you?
Story, on the show a few weeks ago, and I asked him,
how is he?
He's doing great, actually. He was concerned at the time just because of how things, because I think it was sort of early-ish days in the whole pandemic and stuff. But
so several decades ago.
Yeah, it felt like it. But I asked him, like, with television production being in shutdown essentially, although I think the Czech Republic is actually starting to open up. I asked him, like, how long do you think it would take for a TV production or a film production to sort of like be able to start up? And he says, like within a week. Like, he thinks that it can happen like that. I don't know. What do you think? How do you think any industry, but especially the TV industry?
Good for Paul. I love his optimism. I don't know. It's really hard to say because the logistics of it and the boring things like insurance and how to make sure you're not going to lose a whole shoot by having a little mini epidemic, or how to look after your actors and your crews and things is going to be really tricky. And I think there's going to be an enormous backlog of things when we do start filming again. Some things are going to drop away entirely, but other things are going to be prioritized. I don't know. It's really impossible to say how it's going to get back to normal and what it's going to look like. I think there's going to be a lot less international filming, and things which are slightly easier to film, like studio-based things like soap operas, which have a fairly well-established things set up, will be a lot easier to do. But I mean, personally, I've been developing a bunch of things for the past year or so, and they're edging closer to happening, but I can't see any of them happening for another year, I suppose. And theoretically, I think it's possible to start shooting anything. But I don't think it's going to be happening in my own case. But there you go. I mean, as you said, I'm a lot more fortunate than a lot of people. Mm-hmm. It's just it's kind of an interesting uncertainty, actually.
I think there'll be a proliferation of TV dramas that are shot basically basically composited. Everyone, all producers will be like mailing green screen and like HD cameras to actors' houses and asked to film them against a green screen, and everything will just be composited in, and all the group shots that you see on television won't be group shots at all. It'll be very crummy color separation overlay shots, and
it'll be like,
I was going to say that the way the Mandalorian does things with their big LCD screen, I would expect a lot more of that, with like boring everyday stuff, like not just space stuff.
Yeah, it might change that way. But hey, this is exciting though, because Emily Cook from Doctor Who magazine has been organizing all these tweet-alongs that we've talked about a great deal on this podcast, and like Steve Moffat and Russell T Davies have come to Twitter to join them for their respective episodes, and now it's your time. Opportunity knocks for Peter Harness, returning to Twitter to tweet about the Zygon Invasion and the Zygon Inversion on Sunday at about 7:15, because Boris Johnson has something very important to say to the British public.
Yeah, I don't know what can be that important that we have to reschedule a tweet along of a 5-year-old Doctor Who story.
Right.
But there you go. I mean, he's one of those guys who just doesn't like sharing the limelight.
He's on Twitter. He could have seen,
Was he not invited to the tweet along? I mean, if you ask him, maybe he'll. Well, I mean,
do you really want Boris Johnson involved? He's probably a Zygon. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, there is every possibility, I think. Yeah, yes, but 7:15, I believe, unless he goes on further. I don't know whether if he decides to kind of rattle on for another 20 minutes, I don't know whether we'll just say screw this, we're going, or whether we allow the Prime Minister to finish and then he gracefully hands over to the Zygons. I don't know. We'll play it by ear.
Mm-hmm. So are you excited? Are you nervous? What do you plan and what are you thinking heading on into a 2-hour tweet along of stories that you wrote?
I'm not. I wasn't nervous until now, but no, I don't know. God, yes. Well, I've got some bits and pieces to share. Some little bits of old scripts and things, and I suppose I can remember a few elements of interest. It'll just be interesting to go along with it because. I left Twitter before the Zygons actually was broadcast. I think because I think that's probably good for one's mental health. So I didn't. I didn't really see a lot of what people said about it, and I think it went down fairly well. So it will be nice to experience a bit of positivity around it, and I think those tweet-alongs have been very very positive places. So I'm just going to be my natural, sunny and uplifting self.
I'm sure people will be happy when it reaches Peter Capaldi's big speech toward the end of Inversion.
Everyone will just sit and watch that for 15 minutes, so I can probably put my feet up and yes,
just say everyone just watch this and for the last.
Just shut up and watch this for 15 minutes. I'll see you afterwards.
Yeah, those two episodes, I mean, hold a special place in Ward and my heart because we had our first ever trip to London during the time that those two episodes were. I think I first met you in person the Sunday night after episode
the first
one aired.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that was right.
Same here, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
also have to apologize, Peter, because I was so jet lagged that I fell asleep for the first part and I had to watch it later.
That's right. It was a hell of a time.
I was just out of it.
I've heard this. Yeah. Well, no, I remember that. That was really good fun to see you guys. You were staying very near to Sherlock's house, weren't you?
We were. I was staying like a block and a half away from Sherlock Holmes's house in near Euston Station. Yeah.
I was in Hither Green, so quite a ways from Sherlock's home.
Always about, yeah. This is back in London, the halcyon days of 2015 in London. It was quite nice, actually.
You could go there, yeah.
London, what a dump.
Yeah. I should cherish those European Union non-COVID-19 days of London when... happy days. Anyway, I'm looking forward to the tweet along. Hence, this episode coming out a few hours earlier than usual. So as to you can listen to this exciting value-added material for it. So have you written any any additional new stuff for it? Because that seems to be very popular to do.
Yes, I have. I don't know when it's coming out. I think it's coming out just before. We may try and steal Boris Johnson's fire by dropping it just slightly before his speech. So I shouldn't really do any spoilers, but I mean,
no.
But it's fine. It's not a big. It's. I'm not. It's not like any kind of huge spoilerific thing. I'm very allergic to spoil. Why can't we say what happens in things? I don't agree with being so buttoned up about things, but I still am going to be because I don't want to spoil it.
Absolutely.
I long for the old days when you could find out exactly what was going to happen 3 weeks before. In
the radio times.
Nobody really cared very much, so they were happy to sit.
Or the entire episode was leaked.
Oh, yeah. I know. It was.
Those were the days. Do you remember those days?
I was
Marcelo Camargo. I hope he's doing okay.
Yeah. I was watching. Was it Blue? I thought it was Blue Peter from like 1980. Mark Hamill was on.
As you do.
And I think maybe it might have been after Empire came out. But he was basically saying, "Oh, so what's going on? Oh yeah, the next one will be all about Darth Vader and stuff. It'll be called Revenge of the Jedi." Like he's announcing this on Blue Peter off the cuff, like 2 years before the actual movie is coming out. Like that. These days, no, there would be like a PR person just grilling the hell out of Mark Hamill. Here's what you say. Here's what you do not say.
Just
Only
off
say
screen
this.
with a knife.
Yeah, exactly. Mark Hamill casually dropping hints of the completion of the Star Wars trilogy on Blue Peter in 1981.
Well, it's not like, what are they going to share it on? BBC Acorn? Or what's that teletext thing? I don't know what it's called.
Wasn't there a thing from like 1978 where he was saying the next movie was going to feature Darth Vader as Luke's father?
I think that's why Dave Prowse fell out with George Lucas, isn't it? That he accidentally said that without knowing it, or that's what he said. I'm not
a bell.
I can't. I'm venturing into really dangerous territory because I'm absolutely F all about Star Wars, and I'm aware that there may be people out there who know slightly more.
There's a couple,
yeah. No, I think they told Dave Prowse to say the line, which in the script was "I killed your father," but he said that only Mark Hamill. Irvin Kershner, the director, George Lucas knew the actual, and then James Earl Jones, who of course dubbed it on later, knew the actual truth of that line. So Dave Prowse is just going, "Oh, what? I didn't say that on set. Why did they change what I said?" So maybe that's why they fell out.
Well, it's not like they kept Prowse's voice for anything in the first place.
They didn't at all. No, they didn't give me an on-screen cameo. They got John Williams one in the last movie. They should have said, "You're Dave Prowse. Get on."
It took 9 movies. The guy's in his 80s, so that took a while. Exactly. I'm still mad. Like, there's a whole thing of Chasing Amy about it, but I was genuinely angry when I found out that Darth Vader wasn't James Earl Jones when they took the head. I know it doesn't make any sense, but it still made me angry. As a 12-year-old, I'm like, why isn't this a black man? This is nonsense.
Yeah. We'll also have to enjoy Dave Prowse in Clockwork Orange like the rest of us.
Yeah. So how back to the tweet along. So Ingrid Oliver is part of it, who's lovely and funny. And Emily is. So when did this all start coming together? When did Emily Cook start reaching out to you to do this?
I don't know. Time stretches out in such a strange way, doesn't it? Probably I think a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, yes, and I was very happy to do it, and I thought of something to write, and we did it, and it's pretty nice.
Oh, nice.
And yes, it'll be nice to do this because I mean, I will. I think this will be my only one. So I'm trying to get it all out there. I'm going to try and settle all of my old scores. I'm going to have a long strings of tweets which are embittered rants against anyone who has caused me any slight over the years.
Dear Michael Grade.
From childhood until the present day.
Yeah.
Dear Janet Ellis.
Yeah, so I'm really gonna go for it, I think. So no, Emily is obviously a very, very nice and intelligent person, and who has done all of this more or less on her own and created this wonderful global phenomenon, this simulcast. She's wonderful, and she's responsible for getting all these people together and doing all this wonderful happy making bonus content. So yes, I'm very glad to be doing it.
Wow.
And then I get invited on Radio Free Skaro as well.
As part of the publicity arm of this whole operation. Yes. I mean, God, what a weekend for you indeed. What a weekend.
It's been a weekend to remember. Yeah.
Brace yourself.
Yeah, brace yourself. It's downhill from here.
This is just where I want to jump in and talk about Eurovision being canceled next weekend. But
yeah.
Oh, how dare you.
Yeah, there is a conversation.
See, there's a bright shining light to this whole thing.
There is. Yes.
Because Sweden had a very good entry this year.
Yeah, they did. I mean, the ladies representing Sweden were on stage last year as well, so it's not often you get the same group back-to-back years.
No, they were
back.
They were Robin Bankson's, or was it Benjamin Ingrosso last year? I can't remember.
Last year was John Lundvik last year.
Oh my God!
Benjamin Ingrosso was 2 or 3 years ago now.
I'm speaking out of turn here. Oh, I shouldn't say this, but one of Sweden's recent Eurovision entrants actually has decided to retrain as a teacher, and he was a supply teacher at my daughter's school, and everybody had their photo taken with him and got his autograph, but he steadfastly refused to sing his song. I can understand that. I can understand that you're maybe in a conflicted position. It's a big thing in Sweden, and unfortunately, you do get sucked into it because they actually view it as something which is something to make an effort with and enjoy, rather than just as in the UK. Use as an opportunity to sneer at foreigners and and never win it.
Well, Sweden takes it super seriously because Melody Festivalen runs for like a month or month and a half or something like that for the selection process.
It's very, very detailed, and at the end it has a mini Eurovision final and gets juries from the other countries of Europe, represented by the great and the good, to give their jury votes alongside the public votes. So it's actually quite a kind of exciting mirror of the big Eurovision final itself. But of course, it's not going to happen. But they could have done it online, couldn't they?
Yeah.
They didn't need the
they haven't really said what is happening. There's still something happening next Saturday.
Warren, what do you think?
I couldn't care less. No offense, but I just couldn't give a bleep about Eurovision
until Turkey returns to the contest.
You're holding out for Turkey.
Sure.
Sorry,
I don't even know what that refers to. That's how little I care.
I'm very sorry.
That's all right.
Here we are.
That's all right. So you still anticipate something happening on the 16th then for Eurovision? Is this what Eurovisioners?
Oh no, the Eurovision people are putting something together. They haven't really announced all the details as yet, but all the EBU broadcasters are doing it, and it's 2 hours of something. They've been doing like home concerts for the last.
I hate to break it to you, it's been 2 hours for something every time.
2 hours of something is pretty much actually. If only they could continue.
2 hours of me getting off Twitter because my entire British followers list is awash in it, and I'm like, what are you? They're talking to something I can't see and don't want to, so I'm like, okay, quit yelling at air. Like, no, thank you.
Right. Yeah, that's what hashtag muting is for.
Yes, it is.
Sure.
Yes, it is.
Moving on to other, unless you have anything else to report from Eurovision, either Peter or Chris.
Personally, I don't.
You said your piece.
I could talk about it for hours, but I won't.
I think it's important to kind of understand the mood in the room as well. So,
right,
abject hostility towards Eurovision.
While Capaldi's doing his speech, perhaps tomorrow on Sunday on the tweetalong, you could say, okay, well, while Peter's giving the acting performance of his life, let me fill you in on some developments in the Eurovision this year, and then that will be the time to counter program your own material, basically.
Yourself,
that's a very good idea.
I come up with so many of them. This is great. The Radio Times posted pictures from 50 years ago because, yes, the John Pertwee era is now 50 years old, about behind the scenes of basically in the makeup truck of the Ambassadors of Death amongst the whole different other bunch of photos. There's like, Carolyn John getting her makeup put on next to some of the ambassadors and stuff, and it's just little candid shots of the model department and everything. I thought it was quite neat for value added material fans like me. I quite enjoyed a lot of these photos, but the links are in the show notes if you want to have a look at these old timey photos of people who made Doctor Who way back when. Did anyone have a chance to have a look at these?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
Literally just clicked it.
It's on the list.
There's some lovely ones. There's a lovely one of John Pertwee looking very genuinely cheerful behind the TARDIS console, and there's another one I really love of one of the astronauts getting their makeup done and smoking what appears to be a cigarette through a long cigarette holder. I don't know whether he's just got a pen in his mouth or I mean, he looks he looks wonderful. He looks like he should be on the set of Casino Royale or something, but instead he's in this kind of duvet cover puffer jacket ambassador's death thing. I think they're lovely.
Yeah.
The shot of there's a shot of Terrence Dicks in there with his 70s mustache doing like an over the shoulder kind of like glamour shot, which is speaking of Casino Royale material.
Okay, I'll have to find this.
Oh yes! Listen, I love Terrence Dicks and his output.
Yeah, isn't it though?
But Terrence Dicks' glamour shot is not a sentence I expected.
No. Yeah,
but it definitely is.
Yeah,
look at that fellow.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that.
He can teach you a thing or two.
And then there's the photos I've seen of the whole production team with one of the rare shots of Douglas Camfield in there as well towards the bottom that I've seen quite a few places. I think John Williams, ex of Tachyon TV, has a framed picture of that in his house now, actually. But yeah, I love candid photos of Doctor Who of yore, in one of my favorite seasons being the season 7 John Pertwee. So links in the show notes. Have a look behind the scenes shots of Ambassadors of Death and Inferno 50 years ago. 50 years ago. This time of year, Big Finish, in honor of the late great Paul Sprague, has started their annual short trips writing opportunity, where you, a budding writer, can submit a story and have it be chosen to be read out as one of the short trips. So
big break, Pete.
Yes, big. A lot of people have. I mean, they've been doing this since 2015, I think it was.
A few years now, yeah.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
He sadly passed away in 2014. So, the list of rules and stuff are on the Big Finish website. I don't know if you, Peter, meet the criteria.
I very rarely meet any criteria for anything.
Like established writers, I don't know if they have. I don't know if they're allowed to write a short story for this, but I think it would be quite funny if big professional writer Peter Harness swans in and just says, "Yep, I win the short strip." Everyone
send it in as a Blue Peter rejection letter.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, you could do that.
Well, that's. I'm going to exclusively be doing that from now on, so it'll have to be in that format. And well, I could give it a go, couldn't I?
I think you should. I think you should give it a shot. All the details are on the Big Finish website. Links to the show notes. You could submit your own short story idea, any original content in the form of a story, or indeed as a letter to Biddy Baxter, perhaps.
Didn't you submit Warren in the past?
A couple times, and rejection. The watchword of the writer.
Wow.
Well, it's got a list of past winners here, and your name doesn't appear, so yeah, obviously.
Well, thanks. Thanks for rubbing it in. That's great. It's just the kind of encouragement a budding writer needs.
It's important to keep each other's spirits up and be supportive.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Peter. At this time of human history, it absolutely is. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When we're all really cheerful to begin with.
Yeah.
Good luck, Warren, if you do submit.
Sure.
After that rousing bit of inspiration, I'm not sure you'll coax anything out of them. But either way, moving along, the Toby Haydock, who has done all of his Who's Round podcasts, is now on a personal mission to do a commentary for every single episode of Doctor Who with every single person who is in it, and so he's working with Phantom Films, putting out alternate commentaries for stories, including the Robots of Death, featuring the last recording of David Collings, who passed away last month, and the Pirate Planet, with a whole host of people, like Pamela Salem, David Collings, Gregory DePaulnay, who played D84, Brian Croucher, David Tilley, John Dorney. John Dorney wasn't in it, and Joseph Lidster. And then the Pirate Planet.
Lidster wasn't in it either.
No, he wasn't.
BS.
Listen, how you could get on this?
Neither of them were born yet.
No, like they're just
incredible.
Big Finish writers. They could just like move in and go, "Hey, I'm going to join your comment." You could be doing these, Peter. You should just like Toby. Next time you do, I don't know, the Monster of Peladon. You should just I'm coming in for this one, and I'm going to speak about the Monster of Peladon.
Yeah, with great authority.
Exactly.
Dear Toby, I think Toby was the last person, more or less, that I saw socially before all of this insanity started. I was just I always see him when I'm on the way to a funeral, actually, because I've dropped in at his house a couple of times on my way to funerals, and I was on my way back from a funeral, and he lives near the airport, so I went and stayed with him. I went to his comedy night, Excess Malarkey in Manchester. It was fantastic, and I stayed up having a great old time with him and his partner, and that's a lovely gleaming distant memory now of the last time that I had interaction with anybody outside of my family. It was lovely.
Yeah, those heady days when we talk to people.
Incredible.
Well, he's also done with Pirate Planet as well, with a host of people as well, including some writers who just elbow their way in because that's how they do it. But
that's what writers do.
That's what they do.
They do. Yeah.
They're well known to be very assertive sorts.
Yeah.
It's all a marketing ploy for their work.
It is.
Exactly.
Another thing writers are great at marketing themselves.
Yeah. This is exciting. The BBC archive site has posted a whole host of archive sets from many different BBC productions over the millennia, empty sets and stuff for use as Zoom backgrounds for your Zoom meetings. So you could have like the set from Quatermass and the Pit, or indeed the Blake 7 Liberator with bizarrely members of the cast in behind you as well in on the bridge of the Liberator. And of course
I am itching to put these into my work meetings and baffle everyone.
Oh yeah, and of course a host of TARDIS control rooms and stuff. So I can't remember who posted it on Twitter, and I'm sorry to the person who did this, but someone looped about 7 seconds of the androids of Tar in the background of the TARDIS console room going up and down, because there's a shot apparently in the androids of Tar for 7 seconds where nothing happens, where it's just the TARDIS going up and down, and I have that as a moving Zoom background, which looks quite nice. But if you're looking for some Zoom backgrounds to spice up your meetings, links in the show notes to do that.
I'm gonna throw in Hancock's half hour just to really mix it up,
just to really throw things into a large. Are you?
I think they're great.
I know, yeah. Are you in you're in TV, Peter? I mean, are there a lot of production and script meetings and other such things going on in Zoom that you're a part of, or no?
I've had a few, but as I say, I'm kind of in the middle of just writing things, so I have few less urgent meetings. Those backgrounds are wonderful. I do some Zoom things, but I've tried messing about with those backgrounds, but I think people generally frown upon it. So they I would love to have a meeting at Renee's bar from Allo Allo.
Well,
but there's people don't have a great sense of humor in the TV industry, so
I can't believe it. Say it isn't so.
No, of course it is. Of course, they're the loveliest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Say it isn't so.
Yes, that you're eager to get back to working with, because it means it would be relatively out of this period that we are in. Peter, it's been wonderful having you back on the show. Just to hang out this time, as opposed to talking about specific shows that you've written. So thanks for coming along.
Well, I will try to do something at some point between now and the rest of my life. So you invite me back on, because I've had a wonderful time myself, and look after yourselves, and
you.
And I hope we'll see each other for real one day again soon.
One would hope, yes.
We'll meet again. Excellent. The live tweet along, of course, happens. The hashtag Truth or Consequences, because of course that's the New Mexico town in which most of the action takes place. Happens on Sunday, in a few hours, or it happened already if you're listening to this on Monday, as you maybe want to do. So do tweet along. Hey, wait, the main feature of this episode, which we haven't even talked about because we were so excited to bring Peter Harness on. I almost said Peter Myles for some reason. I think we don't have neither on the show.
Thank you. That's what he wanted to know.
Yeah. Because it's Liz Myles. Liz Myles, who is celebrating a birthday as we record this, joins us for the commentary, the final 2 episodes of Frontier in Space after the break. Welcome back to the commentary part of the podcast. It's our ongoing Frontier in Space, Planet of the Daleks commentary series, and our special guest for the last 2 episodes of Frontier in Space is our good friend, Big Finish writer and Verity podcast co-host, Liz Myles. Hi there, Liz.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm pretty excited because I was going to do a big, long, detailed thing there. That's fine.
No,
you carry on.
Okay, no. Why are you excited? Why are you so excited to watch?
Well, when we're recording this, the whole world is going to be watching Day of the Doctor this evening. So I'm pretty excited about that, seeing as I haven't gone outside for quite a while.
Yes, I know. This is how fast the Doctor Who and indeed everyone around the world, when they have all the time on their hands, staying at home and staying safe, is that they can arrange coordinated viewings of Day of the Doctor on the same Saturday that we decided to arrange an all-day commentary of television from 1973. But so this is what we're working around today. This timestamp in history. Everyone.
And yet they probably needed weeks or months to actually coordinate the simultaneous Day of the Doctor back in 2013.
Yeah. And now look at this. I mean, there may be like a few 100,000 people watching at the same time. It won't be at the same time. They won't be in sync or anything. And it'll drive people like me crazy. They'll be watching the NTSC version. They'll be watching the PAL version. They're like, oh, it's just ended. What do you mean it just ended? There's like 5.5 minutes left. I haven't even seen Peter Capaldi's eyebrows yet. What are you talking about? But that's not this episode. We're watching Frontier in Space, episode 5 right now. So I assume you've got your legally purchased DVDs, Blu-rays, all the like, all ready to go. You all ready? You all queued up, everyone?
You betcha.
Oh, yeah.
Good, because here we go. It's Frontier in Space, episode 5, in 3, 2, 1, play. There, it's rolling. This is, I think episode 2 was the same too, but episode 5 of Frontier in Space was shipped to Australia with the aborted remake of the Doctor Who theme on it. And so
the Delaware theme,
they actually got it. So we can't hear it right now because we don't have the audio turned up, but we could be hearing that awful spangly twee version that was rightly axed before it got anywhere else. But Australia got it because that's the first time they've ever got something early.
Because F Australia.
Yeah.
Wow. Serious Australia hate there.
Mm-hmm. There's the reprise of the exciting cliffhanger of a back of an Ogron.
All of these cliffhangers are fantastic. What are you talking about? Look at this go! The slight movement of the camera to simulate moving the space vehicle. It's awesome. Is there any better? Well, actually, there are the 50s, the 30s. Still, 70s spaceship design's pretty darn good.
Yeah. Listen, the camera was the heaviest thing in that studio at the time, so moving it around a lot was... So this is Liz.
I love this scene.
For your benefit, we've had a running tally of incarcerations here on Frontier in Space. We're up to 12. This is still the 12th. We're still in 12 here. I think this might be the end of it, though.
Those are features, not bugs.
Exactly.
They are there for character development. Yeah. And look at this one. It's fantastic.
Come on, you fellows.
Yeah.
Yep.
One for each heart. Gun on each heart. They don't get
Never noticed
I love that the Doctor knows he's faking it. Mm-hmm. It just delights me.
I never noticed how many points there were to John Woodnutt's ears here.
Well, he's regal. He's the Emperor. Emperor John Woodnutt.
Emperor Broton.
Emperor Broton.
Many parts in the British television series Nightmare, which was delightful in my childhood.
Oh, I don't know that one.
I don't know if you'd like it or not. It's very D&D virtual reality, but from late 1980s, early 1990s.
What year is it from? Oh, late.
Those ones. Those years.
So there'd be some...
Nightmare spelt with a K.
Oh, I get it.
It's got one of the best intros.
Oh,
and
right.
Just watch the opening credits. It's fantastic.
Well, Charlie Brooker talking about it on screen.
I mostly watch television from the BBC in the 70s through the late 80s into the 90s for spotting Doctor Who actors. So I feel like I would probably still enjoy that just purely on that basis alone.
I don't offhand recall other ones. There might very well be. It's very... I find it one of the most influential children's television shows I've seen for me. So.
Even more than the Australian epic The Girl from Tomorrow?
Okay, no, I thought you were going to say a different Australian show.
Which Australian show are you thinking? Neighbours?
It was... No, I'm not going to name it because it's a bad show, a very bad show. It causes
Please say Return to Eden. Please say Return to Eden.
No, it causes fear and panic. Oh, look, Frontier in Space is happening.
It's Phoenix 5,
twist,
isn't it? Yeah.
And never, ever watch it. It's horrific and terrifying and traumatized me as a child.
Apparently Nightmare is designated a game show.
What?
Yeah, technically.
Oh, wow. This is a new thing. Anyway, look at all the Draconians. There's a ton of Draconians in that shot.
Yeah, and it's great set too. And it looks cool. And it's just for a couple of scenes.
That's right. They built this whole massive throne room set.
I got as a kid, I never realized that there was like, the Draconians were based on either Japanese or Chinese idea.
Japanese, yeah.
And that was kind of dodgy. And it really like, oh no, maybe there could be some sort of redemption of this because they're really cool. And they've got all those amazing gowns on. But that made me sad.
John Woodnut played Merlin the Wizard for 4 series of Nightmare.
Wow.
That's true.
4 series.
Yeah. But then they changed then they had a regular bad guy called Lord Fear.
A little on the nose there, Nightmare.
So, it was hilarious though. It's really fun.
Oh, Lord Fear. Well, I'll give him the proper respect due to him then.
Oh, this is great. This should be a scene that happens a lot. They both get caught. They both try and talk their way out of it.
And they both fail.
For fun. Yes, by accusing each other of terrible things.
I do miss this. I mean, I feel like Jodie and Sacha Dhawan should be in this similar situation. Both of them trying to argue for their own freedom.
But they're not of the same race.
Oh,
Ish.
You can change that line.
Yeah,
Otherwise, yes. I am very for this happening to any Doctor Master combo, really. Oh, Missy Capaldi, that would have been so beautiful. Why?
That would have been interesting.
Why didn't they just make this scene happen 5 or 6 times?
Well, you can do it. You have the power, Liz.
They could have had Tennant and Sim in there, and the Draconian Emperor could have just said, get it over with and kiss you two, or something.
I have read that fan fiction.
Specifically with
there's
the
only about
Empire?
10,000 of them. No, that's not there usually. No.
Well, there's the 10,000 at first.
Yeah.
Is there any fan fiction between the President of Earth and her lackey with the awesome colors? Because I think that
I'm not aware of any. Alas,
you know what else there isn't any fan fiction? A
little too niche.
Starlost. There's no Starlost fan fiction. This is a crime.
No, because no one knows about it other than you and me.
You should nominate that for Yuletide Exchange.
What's Yuletide Exchange at Christmas? Explain, please.
Yuletide is a big fan fiction exchange that's going on for over 10 years now, which is to try and get more fan fiction for smaller fandoms, so only ones with under a certain amount of fic can be nominated.
Well, Starlost is pretty small.
Yeah, so there you go. I love that bit too.
You feeling right, old chap?
It's so. I remember when I first got this on VHS, I may have had to rewind that a couple of times because it was just made me laugh so much. That was beautiful. Well done, lovely telly.
He said silence female. Oh boy.
And she yelled quiet.
I hope that if and when, and we lamented this earlier, why haven't they ever brought the Draconians back? But maybe they've sort of worked on the whole patriarchy and Draconian society by the time we see them again.
Yeah, I think didn't they appear in the New Adventures? Except, if I recall vaguely, they really did lean into the Orientalist aspects of it there.
Oh dear.
No.
So, yeah. I think unless you were really confident with your writer, it might be best not to. But I do love the political situation of it that's going on at the time here. I love the space future politics stuff and the sense of this other big empire out there that they don't actually want to kill people. They're just really scared of us, and for good reasons.
Mm-hmm.
This is why this is such a great story. The whole thing, all the space politics and world building.
Yeah.
It's almost as good as Seeds of Death in that respect.
Oh, I love Seeds of Death. Oh,
so good.
It's funny that T-Mass never mentioned again.
This is a hell of a hallway.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Oh, sorry. Look at that striding, though.
Yeah. I mean, he is the best, right? Delgado is the best master.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, he's got
yes.
Missy is a close second, I think.
Yes. Michelga was tried, and I was just like, except, Michelga, she's so Delgado-ish without presumably even trying.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, theirs is the Master-Doctor relationship that I so very much wanted to, like, follow on from Delgado-Pertwee stuff. It's just perfect. Sashi Dewan's really hot, though. And really good at acting.
Fair.
But also really hot. So that's, distractingly so. Those are big heels.
Those are some platforms.
That's a big platform right there, yeah.
Well,
You should be at Club 54.
at least they're not going to snap off, Those are heels are attached to that.
That's true.
sole
That's
shoe.
like functional heel. Is that a thing? Is that a thing we could do? Yeah.
Right.
It's a sharp
You want to
outfit.
try and run in those heels?
No, I don't actually. Although it's funny, like even the gentlemen of the day wore heels. Like every time I watch a Blake 7 episode and I look at what Gareth Thomas is running around in.
Yeah, because they're short.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say, how short is Gareth Thomas? Or was Gareth Thomas?
Actually, he's not really. He's not. No, I met him. He's not actually terribly short. Paul Darrow might feel that he was short, maybe.
I just know the only real comparison I have is when we interviewed the Battlestar Galactica cast, and all the men were short and the women were not.
Oh.
Tricia Helfer is quite tall.
Except for Grace Park.
Like, generally speaking. Yeah, but she was like an average tallness of a female, and all the guys were pretty short. There's technical reasons for that. It's just easier to shoot stuff like that. If everybody's more or less the same height.
It's forced perspective, I think, is how they actually shoot most of it.
That can be it, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings?
Like Lord of the Rings, exactly. They had, like, all of Tom Cruise's movies, if you look at them very closely.
Oh, I knew that.
He's actually 5 feet in front of where his co-star is because he's so much shorter than them.
But
This
also,
is one
if
of the
you've
reasons-
got taller women entering, like, acting, and average-sized guys, it all kind of evens out, and it's just easier to light, right? So, and set things up, rather than have to go with, this guy's also a different height, or the woman is, for that matter. So it's just an added layer of complication. Okay. What I'm saying is Hollywood's lazy.
Oh, they are.
I was also under the impression that they so often didn't want to make the woman look taller than the man.
Oh, yes.
That's probably is part of it,
and
too,
then
I'm
I got
sure,
one of the many reasons I loved The Librarian was because Rebecca Ramasian was clearly the tallest person there, and they never bothered to disguise. She was like 3 inches taller than Noah Weil.
Oh, wow.
And they were romantic, and it was like, yes, this is great, because she was a soldier, she was a colonel, and she actually looks like the one you'd want to get behind if there was a firefight, because she was the scary one.
Hollywood could be lazy and also terrible. It's also difficult to light Caucasian and then non-Caucasian actors in the same scene, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't do it.
I had no idea.
I know, it's just a real bolt from the blue here.
Wow.
Speaking of lighting, Draconian has no light on him.
No, that's right.
I like how the Doctor has dressed to coordinate with the Draconians.
It
I
is.
think that's very diplomatic of him.
Is it a green
Given SD
coat?
video, they're all kind of blending into the scene here.
Yeah.
It is green, Stephen.
It is green, thank you.
Oh.
Spaceship.
Also, the model works great.
I know.
I get so pettily annoyed with mentioning, inverted commas, the strings on the spacesuit. It's like, stop looking so hard. Stop looking on your giant HD TV.
But
That's true.
The shadow of the strings is on the hull of the ship.
It could be anything.
It could be space flotsam or something. I don't know.
It could be weird space stuff. You don't know what's out there.
I've said this before, but I remember watching the HD upres of the original War of the Worlds film from like 1953 with the spaceships and the things that fire little guns out. And I remember seeing it like years ago on TV and stuff and thought, whoa, that spaceship's coming out of the ground. And then I watched the HD upres without like any touching up or anything. And you could see like 37 different strings pulling that thing up because it didn't show up on standard def, but now it was on HD.
Yes. This is why I don't watch The Mind Robber in HD.
Because you
That
can see
is
the
not
backdrop.
what was intended.
Yeah.
What the heck? The beautiful white void. If you're going to like correct inverted commas mistakes, could you not make us see that it's not a white void?
Yeah.
To say nothing of the Aztecs.
I bet you that will. I bet you the when they come to make the Blu-ray of it, because just imagine how it'll look on Blu-ray. Because episode 5, or maybe episode 1, I can't remember, was like on 35 millimeter film, so it's like really good quality. So that white void would look like really super obvious. So these are things I like to think about. How are they going to correct that for the Blu-ray release?
Blur it. You use your big blur tool and you blur all that stuff out.
Yeah.
That's probably very professional and exactly how it's done.
Make it better by making it worse, technically.
Correct. Yes. You can do a very high definition white void. Mm-hmm. Make it the highest definition all white you can. It'll be fine.
Maximum definition.
We spared no expense on this cyclotron.
8K
so now
white
I'm just
void.
sad they don't do any sort of contact in here with each other, because that was great in Spyfall.
I love the missile things.
Yeah, those are cool. Pew pew. They work.
Yeah.
I think there should be more like intercom speeches perhaps between the two, like Star Trek 6 and stuff. Yeah.
There should be snarkiness.
Yeah.
Snarky intercom exchanges. That's why I'm watching this show. For their Star Trek rocking back and forth.
Uh-huh.
Given they don't do that every week, I think they look very professional at pretending their spaceship is getting hit. You know, that's not easy.
And like, you know, they're not having, it's not like on film, so they can edit out the audio later where the director's saying, you know, bang, move this way, move that way. Like everyone's just doing it on their own. Those are good actors right there. They've rehearsed that. They've rehearsed that with tape on the floor 3 weeks prior to this.
Good Lord.
Doesn't matter the Ogron.
Not with that flimsy door.
Yeah, you can walk in anything.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Oh.
Every time.
Oh, he's so concerned about the Doctor's health. He's so sweet.
Is there some sort of agenda you're implying here, Liz? Just off the top of my head.
Well, I got very confused when I discovered fandom, and they were all like, "Oh, but Big Flaws tear the Autons," and the Master Keep coming to Earth says, "Why doesn't he kill the Doctor?" And it's like, how is it not obvious why doesn't he kill the Doctor? Why are you so confused by this? He does not want to kill the Doctor. Jeez, it's not hard.
Because they're brothers, obviously.
Oh my goodness, get out.
Boom Rose 2020.
Oh.
I do like how during Sound of Drums that just gets brushed away completely.
Oh, it was so good, that scene. I was like, I had an actual moment of terror. I mean, you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't do that. Not to the fanfic. And it turned out, oh, thank goodness, no.
Well, is it at the Doctor Falls where Sim Master and the Missy Master are, like, doing things?
Well, they're implying that he wants to do things, which isn't as dirty as it seems. But
they probably did. I mean, the character is that vain.
That's true.
Yeah.
He probably thought the song was about him, in fact.
I get it.
It probably was about him as well.
Yeah, fair enough.
Somebody paid like
song, it only had
2.2
4
million.
drum beats.
Yeah, somebody paid like $2.2 million for the secret of who that song's about. You're so vain. I'm serious.
Ooh.
Carly Simon auctioned it off. I'll tell you for $2.2 million.
What? She theft?
Points to Carly Simon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, it's James Taylor. It was always James Taylor. Thanks for the $2.2 million, you idiot.
This is less realistic. The camera's not shaking at all.
No, I feel like the camera should be. There should be stuff blowing, like the bed sheets should maybe be blowing with a.
Oh, there's a wind machine.
Yeah,
Oh, there we go. That's better.
it's a good door though.
A little
It is. It
too
feels
little,
like
too
a
late.
solid door. I think they did their best under circumstances.
Yeah, it's only
can't be
studio.
easy.
It's a multicam studio. It's basically shooting it as live. They did their best.
I like how the ship will pump in more oxygen as though it's coming from outside.
Yes, that's how space works, Chris. Don't be dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
I like they've got seatbelts though. Bless them.
I was reading the production notes on this, and like seatbelts in cars were like a relatively new thing to be mandated by or at least recommended by the UK government. And so the designers said, well, you better put seatbelts on. That's a direct reference to ongoing current affairs.
Yeah. Well, Gene Roddenberry obviously didn't hear that in the 1980s.
No, Gene Roddenberry didn't hear anything.
Well, he definitely didn't hear anything in the 2000s.
That's true. I am a bit sad that the last Master left his War of the World book on the other ship.
Oh. He's got a Kindle version somewhere.
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't have.
Yeah.
I bet it's like I bet he got it signed though.
I love his cufflinks too.
Yes.
Point of order. Is this count as a 13th incarceration because Joe has now been transferred from...
No, if she really tried, she could fight her way out.
And the ship the doctor's on is about to get boarded and him being under arrest. So is that 13 and 14?
I don't know. This is tough. I just feel like she's not in a prison cell right. Oh, it's a president again.
Woo! Sorry, that was a cheer.
No,
she's great.
Right. Oh, I know.
Her granddaughter's great.
Yes, I mentioned that her granddaughter posed in that dress on her blog a couple of years back. I don't know what else she does. I was transfixed on her wearing the dress in the middle of a field for some strange reason. It was a strange photo shoot, but
it did have the dress.
It did have the dress.
Album cover.
And she did talk a little bit about her grandmother.
That's right.
And it is kind of bizarre, you know. Your grandparent was an actor. Mm-hmm. You know, they had a career. It was mostly bits, supporting parts. And yet there are thousands of people around the world who know who she is and appreciates her for like half a dozen scenes in this one show from 40 years ago.
Yep.
That's amazing.
She did have the cape, though. The cape. I never noticed the cape attachment that she's got on. You can see it briefly when they cut back to her, which they should be doing. Paul Bernard, director of this show.
Oh,
I love the costumes, though. Having the head off center, but making just enough room for that extra shoulder pad or shoulder crest or whatever that is.
She's wearing pretty big heels as well.
Oh, we did a Picard maneuver
there. They've got platform things in them.
Yeah. Everyone's got platform heels on.
You think she?
I do.
You think she walked on set and said, "If we can have a cape, then I want one."
Yeah, I demand one too. I'm the president of Earth, damn it.
But all these costumes are fantastic. The Draconians, the dress. I love the president is wearing such. I know it's the 70s, but still wearing such feminine clothing.
Yeah.
Because as female politicians, they don't do that because for a bunch of reasons they've got to look. They can't look too pretty, or they don't have authority, but they can't look too masculine, or they're something else.
Yeah.
So I just love that she's unapologetically wearing a gorgeous jeweled dress.
It's kind of
this is the future.
Servalan-esque in a way, isn't it? Yeah.
But good Servalan.
Yeah.
It's like the good Federation.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. There's a lot. Oh, that's another thing I love about the world building, that we're not presented with either a utopia or a dystopia in the future. But it's there are good sides and bad sides to this. She's not a monster or dictator or unreasonable, and she doesn't want to go to war, but also there's like political prisoners on the move.
I know.
It's basically Battlestar Galactica 2003.
Yeah.
Layers.
But with good 70s costumes.
Oh, it does have good sound and better hairstyles.
Yes. Also, I'm digging Joe's Cobra Kai outfit here.
Yes.
It's an easy cosplay. I'm kind of disappointed that we haven't seen it as much as I would like at Gallifrey 1s and such. Because
those boots are tricky.
The boots.
I would so cosplay the president here, though.
Oh, the president. Honestly,
I would.
I want to see basically the next, the 50th anniversary of this story. So 2023, Galley 2023. I want to see the Masquerade feature basically only Frontier in Space. That's all.
You want a lot of things, Stephen.
That's the rules.
I would be very for that.
Yeah, it's just like, why bother? Like, there's everything you need. There's Draconians, there's Earth costumes. Like, you weren't here for this, Liz, but we remarked about how like the secretary and like the torture device, the mind probe operator, has like long, elegant dress gloves on.
I know, it's amazing. Yeah. I love it. I love it. It's just bizarre, and yet I'm sure if we were 150 years ago, many of our fashion choices would look just as bizarre.
That's true.
Yeah.
So.
Mary had a little lamb whose fleece was white as snow.
Character development.
Yeah.
In Doctor Who.
But that only started happening in the new series. I don't know what you're talking about.
What? Are you suggesting that all companions did at this time was scream?
That's all. Yeah, that's what some people would say. Perhaps.
And twist their ankles.
Except for the boy companions, they fought.
That's true. That's what they did. That's what boys did. Boys fight. Girls scream.
And trip.
Welcome to
I'm
Doctor
going to
Who.
wisely be quiet here.
Yeah.
We're
just stating what the opinion was. We're not stating our personal opinion, Warren. We're stating what the opinion was.
Look, okay, it looks like a giant minefield that I try to avoid giant minefields, so never mind.
Oh, it does wind me up whenever there's literally no companion in the classic series that isn't awesome in some way.
Oh,
None of even Dodo has the gunfighters.
Even Dodo has the cold in the Ark.
That was funny.
Yeah.
I don't, but she doesn't get a great deal. I don't think almost genocide really counts as good character work.
No.
Everybody's into genocide. Come on.
Just the way she plays it, she's very amusing.
Oh, yes, no, she is. That's true. In her second or accent. That's still her first one.
That's true. Yeah,
They just spun a wheel before recording any episode to determine her accent.
Much like Princess Leia.
What accent are you going to be today? All right, you're from the north, apparently. Well, there we go. That was an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I think, we talked about Doctor Who for at least 3 minutes of it.
Some of it, even the same Doctor Who that we were watching. So so we get to finish this off now. Frontier in Space, episode 6. We've got in front of us.
Eh?
Yep, 6.
This final episode. Oh, I don't watch this episode.
I know it's tough at times, but
it makes me sad.
Because Planet of the Daleks is next.
Partly that.
Not for Liz. She doesn't have to watch that.
Thank God. I can't have seen it in like 10 years.
Well,
there's a reason for that.
Well, let's remember the happy days then.
It's got Bernard Horsfall and the guy that looks like Michael Palin.
Those are both good things.
Yeah. Anyway, Frontier in Space, episode 6. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. There we are.
So did we decide any more facts about the music? Sorry.
I was going to say, did we decide on if that's 13 and 14?
I think 13. I think the Doctor is now basically free and clear of everything.
Joe gets put into the cell.
So Joe being in the cell. Well, now, see, this is the thing. Like, is being in the cell, is that the stipulation here? Because Joe was obviously taken prisoner by the Ogrons, but then is she only a prisoner once she's put in the cell? These
are important distinctions.
This is very important. Yeah.
Well, we haven't been counting just general restraint. We've been counting cells.
Okay. Well, then she'll be put in a cell, and that'll be 13, I think. So this is not in prison. Yeah.
So we had none in episode 5 then.
No, I guess we didn't. No, because we've run out of cells. Basically.
Why is she more scared of a Drashig or the mutants dude than the Master?
Because she's a racist.
That is not the answer I expected.
Is it that the hypnotic thing forces you to see something else? Like she's
it works
incapable
on the fear
of seeing
centers
the
in your mind.
Oh.
Yeah,
she sees a Merca inexplicably.
Yeah.
Well, she can't see the Master. She has to see the Sea Devil or the mutant.
That's not in the story. It suggests that she's more scared of those things than the Master, but which one killed hundreds of people with their little plastic flowers?
That's true. Which one killed George? Well, actually, it wasn't that. It was he did kill him. No, who killed him? Yeah, it was. He drove over him in Mind of Evil. And she liked George. Barnum.
George.
Barnum.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who calls him George?
I don't know. Why did I call him George? Was it George Barnum? That's his name, wasn't it? Yeah.
I don't know what his first name was.
I think
Nobody calls him it in the story.
His name was Robert Paulson.
Yeah. That's Omega right there is the Ogron, by the way. Stephen Thorne.
And also, they've tread this fine line of these are ape creatures, so they're dumb, but they really aren't. If you listen to them, they're like perfectly rational dudes.
Well,
yeah, they took out Day of the Daleks. No complications, though, just to smooth that over.
And here's Orson Welles ranting about something.
No forgiveness
Yes,
for
always.
no complications.
Yes, start the recording now. Frozen peas.
Yeah.
I like there's blue in her hair as well. That's just so cool.
War. Who shouts for war that much? Well, obviously that guy, but because American.
2003 springs to mind.
Yeah, that's a good point.
George Patrick Barnum. Yeah.
There it is.
Neil McCarthy.
Wow.
I think he had Marfan syndrome. I can't remember which aspect of him was affected by it, but I know he played. He was in Power of Kroll, of course. Another brilliant story.
See, for someone who's big into the patriarchy, he's like very respectful of the Earth President.
Yeah, he's respectful for authority, even though females are not permitted to speak. He is respectful of the office, which is.
See, you could probably do something interesting with that.
That's true.
Maybe.
Here's 13. This is 13 right here. This is the 13th incarceration of the Doctor and/or Joe in the course of the story.
Well, as you know, there can only be 13 incarcerations. Rassilon decreed it.
True.
Thank you.
Well, thankfully, Planet of the Daleks comes along, so we get a whole new cycle of incarcerations.
Lulls. Sorry. I wouldn't have thought of that. That always makes me sad at this bit. I'd have been stuck in the cell.
You would have been like, I guess I'll try to eat this goop.
Yes. It's really scary when you're a kid and they do something like that and you're like, I never have thought of that.
Spoon as a shovel. I just think, can I have another bowl of shreddies, please? But you're escaping from the prison.
Yes.
See, this is it. We don't have I don't think the Doctor is imprisoned anymore for the rest of this story as we enter episode 6.
No, he's large and in charge.
Yeah, he is now. Dragons. That is a racist term. That is like he's right there. He's literally right there, and you
and
yell
they
that.
still do it. There's stuff to unpack with this. It's interesting. They're still going to use that derogatory term right in front of someone who's their ally.
Yeah,
that's not unrealistic.
That is a very, very, very good point.
Some questionable diplomacy there.
A little bit.
He's not a diplomat.
No,
he's the guy that started the war.
He's just a pilot. Gentle tipping.
Is he going to go outside? Does he go outside again?
Totally goes outside. Smug.
Naturally.
Oh, he's such an ass. That's great. See, this is ambitious,
right?
Given the show, I just so judgy at judging something for ambition.
See, now you look at the cable here, and I see it as he's tethered to the rocket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that just makes sense.
Yeah,
flying off in the middle of nowhere.
That's an actual
that's
canonical
just good
cable.
Practices.
Yeah,
they could have zhuzhed it up with like some space glitter or something, but other than that,
yeah. And obviously, yes, exactly. Why has anyone ever complained about strings in this?
Yeah. Well, the previous one when he's trying to sneak into the bridge of the master ship is that
lots of tethers.
Tethers. He was careful to tether himself to the ship, even though it left him in the dust. Bodge.
Bodge something up.
Is that a word?
It is now.
Oh.
That's quite a good spacesuit as well. And it's orange.
Ooh, reference. Obviously, costume designer of Impossible Planet was thinking of the Frontier in Space outfit when they were designing the astronaut outfit. Quite clearly.
And really, they should have been thinking of Terminus.
With the helmet and everything, yeah.
The bubble helmet.
Oh, man.
Imagine if it had gone that way instead.
Like, what would you get if you hollowed out 1950s television and put it on your head? You would get helmets from Terminus.
I don't see a problem with that.
Oh, do
That's quality space gear. They also have to make it look as though he's on the outside of a really big ship.
So, for whatever it's worth, so the Oxford English Dictionary you have to pay to access. But the Merriam-Webster Dictionary says bodge is an English unit of capacity equal to about 1/2 of a peck and out of use since the 17th century.
So, of course, the Doctor would use that.
He meant botch, didn't he?
No, bodge is in like fix something, I think, is what he...
He'll make something up to fix the thing.
Okay. Well, the English language is very strange.
It is. And
we don't use it in Scotland.
Fluid, yeah. There we go. She escapes from incarceration number 13. Actually, it's the first time that they've actually properly escaped. Oh, no, I guess the Doctor Who escaped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, the first one they escaped. And then they're
Blessed
right
be
back
the
in.
Beast. Look at that. Look at the artistic concept of what the Beast is supposed to look like.
That is some very delicate brushwork there.
That's fine brushwork. I want to see that on a Clayton Hickman
It looks
t-shirt.
like it's smiling if you... Those are the eyes, and then it's got that smile on its snout, though it's looking straight at you.
Is it? Oh, it is
It's
a
quite
snout.
sweet.
I actually thought it kind of looked like Mestor from the Twin Dilemma.
I like to pretend it's turned its side, so it actually looks like a very ugly dog. Like there's two of them there.
Okay, I'm not gonna roll back now, but I need to investigate that a little more closely.
A sweet but ugly dog.
Oh yes.
No, it looks nice at you. It's like, don't hate me because I'm ugly. I'm lovely.
Love me because I'm
This
a
isn't the
dog.
best model work Doctor Who's ever done, but I still like it when it's got the spacescape behind it and it's got
Love
that
me
nice
because I'm a
blue
dog
tinge.
isn't
Yeah.
actually truth. By the way.
Oh, it is 1973, and they are doing the best that they can for 1973.
There's earlier model work that I like better, as well as later stuff.
Oh, like Space Pirates? Please say
No,
it's
not Space
Damn.
Pirates.
I like how you went from happy to very serious
Yeah.
there.
Is
Listen,
it-
2 seconds.
I don't.
The
I don't.
Ark? Is it the Ark?
The stuff I like best was the Medusa.
Oh, that's very good. I know.
It's possibly Doctor Who's greatest special effect.
I'm still not convinced it was made for Doctor Who.
Were you the one who told me it was?
No, God, no,
So-
no. I think it was.
Somebody told me it was.
I think it was. I just like, how would they do that? Why would Doctor Who spend the money and time to make stop motion animation? They never do this. How could it possibly be for Doctor Who? I bet you it was.
I really hope it was.
Yeah.
And someone did say it was, who I thought was vaguely authoritative on the subject.
I have to look into that. Oh,
It's a trap.
I kind of like how the Ogron is standing with his arms crossed in front of him there behind. It's very respectful.
He is. It's like he's at church.
No complications.
No complications.
None? None.
Why would you remove that? Why would you remove the best line?
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
Why would you? I believe I asked this question.
Listen,
It
a friend
was
of mine named his
unrealistic.
jazz album.
Yeah.
A friend of mine named his jazz album "No Complications."
Oh my god, they're basically destroying artistic inspiration by editing that line
Yeah,
out.
Exactly.
Like the special edition of Five Doctors, where the Cyber doesn't go anymore. Why?
What?
How do you know what he's thinking? How do you know? He just walks off.
Oh
looks,
my goodness,
walks.
why would you mess about with this stuff?
It's just- This is in the day when, like, oh wow, George Lucas has made new scenes for Star Wars. That's awesome.
This is George Lucas's problem.
Yeah.
This
So-
is his fault.
Well, he took it too far. No, because I think Five Doctors predated that. So maybe it's Paul Vanessa's fault that George Lucas saw that and says, you know what, I can do that too. Let's do it. Let's ruin Star Wars.
Nobody knows what a dewback is, but I'm going to put them in there.
Yeah.
That's the sort of person who would like take out David Banks's intonation of excellent and replace it with an actual monotone.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That's what I think
Yeah.
of people who take out and no complications.
I agree. Why would you overdub David Banks?
Why would you destroy
We are missing quality
them?
frontier and space content here, by the way.
I know.
Oh, I'm sorry, there's a fire.
There is
Something's
a
happening with a fire.
Yeah.
There's a fire going on. Was that it? Was that the quality content?
Yes, we're missing the precious fire. Somebody work hard on that fire effect.
Oh, wait, there's really good stuff said.
I have lost count at how many scenes start with Paul Bernard zoomed in on one thing and then zoomed out the whole scene. I think
Are you very impressed by this director?
It might be I think he gets into it. I think he doesn't know what he's doing in Day of the Daleks, and I probably shouldn't speak ill of the Time Monster here, which is the second story that he directed.
Get out! It's perfect in every way.
He didn't know.
I don't know what you're suggesting.
Didn't know how to do a TARDIS materialization, and that really bugged me at the time, and probably still does today. But he doesn't have to do one here, thankfully. So those
TARDISes were under a great deal of stress. All right,
as was everyone around it when they were told to stay perfectly still as we bring this TARDIS in. Oh boy.
It's just look at Quarry.
Of course. Now we're into Doctor Who, proper Doctor Who here.
Look, that's a nice shot. People wandering around a quarry.
That is good, actually,
with lens flare.
Aha!
Yeah.
See, that's made by the person who directed Time Monster. You know.
Well, it could have been his assistant.
He wouldn't have known what to do in Frontier in Space if he didn't screw it up first in the Time Monster.
Get out. I do like quarries. And now we've been to the worlds, we know that they do look like quarries. So it's very realistic.
That's true. They filmed this in Lanzarote, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure that's where they filmed this one. Because now Doctor Who has a budget that they can fly overseas to different quarries.
Where did the Doctor get his big cozy coat from?
Oh, that's a good point. He had it. Did he have it before? He had it way back. I think it just folds up in a pocket, I think.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how Gallifreyan clothes work, because that's how the Master got his cape when he was transported down to Gallifrey.
And it was established that the pockets are bigger on the inside, so.
That is true. Oh, this is really, it would be so cool to be able to watch this without knowing what's going to happen.
Oh, I know. When I was a kid, when I first saw this, I think it was maybe 14 or 15 when I saw this the first time.
Didn't get that because Planet of the Daleks was on the BBC Two repeats in the early 90s, so I saw that well before I saw this.
Oh,
I do like continuity of the same sound effect though.
Yeah,
that makes me so happy.
Oh
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't judge that. That looks great.
Looks just like the painting.
That's all we got. That was the only shot. Somebody spent a lot of money and time on that, and that was the only time we see it.
Committed the correct decision. Made the right thing by making it on screen for about a second.
I suppose.
We didn't have time to get a good look at it, so it's all good.
But his lack of confidence in it means that, to the long run, that we have a weird curtailed last scene of Roger Delgado. I know. Because they had to edit around the fact that, we're not dragging that stupid garbage bag into the studio. Thank God we'll never do this again. No one who worked on this story obviously worked on Creature from the Pit 6 years after this.
Hey, maybe it went really well in Claws of Axos, and that was the one they worked on.
That could be it, because it didn't look too bad. Well, it was just, no.
It looked terrible, the one on the floor.
Stuart fell rolling around in a garbage
one.
It was But they slowed it down or something. They did something different to it instead of
It looked terrible. They had two amazing costume looks. I loved those two. And they had someone rolling around in a carpet on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh. God, I love he's got this little space helmet crown thing on now as well.
Yeah, he does too. What does he have a helmet on for? What is that going to, okay, it's his... We have determined those are Beats headphones, and that's what he's wearing them for, but...
Ooh, spooky Dalek feelings.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what
everything reads
why
into
would
Time
Daleks?
War now as well. That's why he's got a premonition.
Oh,
how great would this be not knowing?
I know.
That's a great shot too, actually.
It is.
Yes.
I sure didn't know when I saw it for the first time. Thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, I didn't have a clue either.
No.
I don't think I saw this. Well, maybe I must have had a celebration, but I would have forgotten anyway.
Oh,
oh my God!
Da, da, da. And credits.
What I immediately thought was, okay, so how are they going to get over this cliff? Are they going to fall off?
They don't need to. They can't show the wooden planks that they're on right now. Come on.
It always feels like they're a little behind with the negative effect. Oh yeah, damn it.
Yep.
Oh, at least we get these scenes, even if the last one's atrocious.
Yeah. Michael Wisher, first voice of the Daleks. This is the first proper voice of a Dalek, actually. After that, all those awful voices in Day of the Daleks.
How dare you?
They're terrible.
Yeah.
I kind of love them anyway, though.
Yeah.
Yes, so do I.
They are bad, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Warren is correct, as he often is about
Thank
bad
you.
things.
Thank you.
That is great. That is great.
So the gold Dalek is supposed to be in charge here, as opposed to later when the red Dalek is in charge.
Yeah, because
it's a fluid hierarchy.
The invisible red Dalek.
They painted this one gold, obviously, for Day, and then they still had those same 3 Daleks. And I can't remember what I think they hired some out for Planet.
But these are like the bog standard Dalek colors, more or less now.
They only had 3.
I still remember Chris being very angry that in Asylum of the Daleks, the Kemble Daleks were not properly represented.
That's true.
Well, they were the new style Daleks. Dagnabbit.
Yeah, but they could have put the
They're RTD style Daleks.
He saved his life again.
Also cheaper.
It's so sweet.
14?
Joe's back in there, so that's got to be 14.
Okay, so that makes this.
So this is now 15. This is the granddaddy of
Capaldi,
all.
because technically Capaldi. This is the Capaldi imprisonment.
No, this is. I think 13 was in Joe Escaped when she dug her way out. Then she got put back in, which is 14, and now this is 15.
But we don't see her get put back in.
We don't need to see Darth Vader go back to his Star Destroyer either, but we do.
Yeah, we sure as hell don't.
Oh my god.
Why would we?
So which imprisonment was the War Doctor imprisonment? This is getting very confusing.
Yeah, this will be 15.
Yeah.
No, sir, all 15.
Oh.
And the next time you watch this, Stephen, you can watch out for your zoom out thing.
This is a great bit. Let us all savor it.
Look at that sweet microphone.
It's a great looking microphone.
Mm-hmm.
It needs a unit logo on it.
It does look like a logo, doesn't it? Yeah. Masters Pod. Why have we we need a GIF of that just to have like the Masters Now podcasting and
Why take him down a peg like that?
What's the Master doing during this pandemic? He's starting a podcast.
Well, he's entering conference call. That's what he's doing.
Yeah. Set up a Zoom account. God, I want to see that story. Instead of Planet of the Night, why don't we stick around and see the Earth Draconia story? I'm sure they've done this in like spin-off media at some point. Like, where did General Williams...
I would say, I would guess in the comic strips at some point, because I seem to recall Draconia as being in the comic strips.
Everyone's in the comic strips.
That's true.
Yeah. Everyone. Ooh. John Pertwee does a Dalek voice.
Nice one, very scared.
That's a big eyes right there, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's a good wide-eyed acting from that Ogron. That's not a bad podcast setup he's got going on there.
I love he's rubbing his fingers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're going to go on. I love Doctor Who. Oh, that's all the good stuff gone now. It's so sad.
I really am sorry.
That's when we finish the episode.
Yeah, just wrap it right there.
Yep.
Planet Dogs, not canon.
We don't need to see the Doctor pass out.
Nah.
Yeah, we just go straight into the next one and try and work out what happened.
if Planet of the Daleks was just 4 episodes, okay, but 6, come on, guys.
Well,
this Frontier is great at 6.
It is superb at 6, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You have to watch Planet of the Daleks, though.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going. Yeah, there's no question of that.
There's 2 hours you won't get back.
Mm-hmm. That looks like a next cube.
If only it was 2 hours.
Yeah, we're doing great at selling Planet of the Daleks for you. Stick around for the next 3 episodes of Raven Skaro, everyone. Would be lots of great
Thanks
people
for your
coming.
Patreon support,
Yeah.
and here's a crap episode.
It's not that bad. I mean, we'll get into it. We don't need to. Oh, no. This is it, isn't it? And there we go.
Yeah.
Roger Delgado looking vaguely surprised at a laser gun going off. This is last shot in Doctor Who.
And this was shot by...
Jesse never gets any better.
This was shot by Maloney, right?
I think this was, several weeks after.
This is why I stop it, because Malcolm Hulke's Target gave it a very nice last scene with the Master. Which was delightful.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He packs away all his stuff.
Uh-huh.
And sort of sighs and goes, oh, well, there's always tomorrow. And that's it. It's very sweet.
Doctor Who in the Space War.
It's always tomorrow. Just don't go to Turkey.
So I think maybe if you did actually have the cliffhanger sting as the Daleks appear on the cliff, that's your perfect ending to the episode, really. And then you just don't I wonder what happened after that. Well, we'll never know. Doesn't matter.
And
I want this stupid tin boxes line.
That too. Oh yeah.
It's not like they couldn't have made up the difference in the story at the start of Planet.
That's true. Oh my God, they just grafted anything.
They could have
onto
filled
that.
in the gap.
Yeah, very easily, might I add. Well, they had to rewrite this ending basically to so the Doctor starts off knocked out in Frontier and Planet of the Daleks. So somewhere along the line, we have to have Frontier in Space end with the Doctor getting knocked out.
Murphy Grumbar.
That's
the best Dalek operator name ever.
Yeah,
That's a good name.
Good job. All these people, all these fine people who made our favorite show. Barbara Kidd especially, costume designer.
Woo! Thank you, Barbara Kidd.
Yeah. There we are. Well, Liz, that was great. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did, apart from the last 3.5 minutes, of course. We don't talk of that. But
no, it's delightful. Absolutely love that story. And yeah, beautiful to watch. And you're all lovely people.
Oh, well, you're lovely too, Liz. Thanks for as we told Kyle, finding the time in our busy lives to do nothing else but watch television now.
Yes. Yes. No. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So Verity is continuing on, obviously, and you've written Big Finish stuff, but I don't know what has come out and what has been announced. So I'll leave it to you. What coming down the pipe? It's coming down the pipe. Big Finish that you've written.
What's been out is season 7 River Song, Abbey of Heretics in January, and in the first 12th Doctor Chronicles season, another one called Distant Voices, and there are more things that none of them have been announced though, so that's fun. But yeah.
And they've been recorded and everything, or do you even know that? Are you even allowed to say that?
One's completely done.
Wow.
And several others, I'm in the middle of writing stuff for them, which I'm probably supposed to be doing at the moment, but I'm watching Doctor Who instead, apparently.
Well, it's research. That's what it is. It's research.
Yes.
They're not producing anything in the studios right now anyhow.
That's true. It is genuinely bizarre that now watching Doctor Who is actually research. Genuinely, when I'm checking stuff, it's very weird.
And a tax deduction for your DVD collection.
I know. I was like, oh, BritBox. I don't need BritBox as well as Netflix. Oh, wait. BritBox is tax deductible because I'm
research.
Saving myself a walk to the DVD shelf.
Yep. Well, it's been splendid. I look forward to hearing you talk about your stuff to come from Big Finish in the hopefully near future as it gets released.
Hopefully.
And hopefully the relatively near future as it gets recorded again, when we can all get back to some sort of semblance of normality. So that's it. That's it for this episode of the Radio Free Scarl podcast. Next episode will be the first 2 parts of Planet of the Daleks, the one that we've been selling hard for you to turn into. But
it is a hard sell.
It is a hard sell, but we will have a special guest with us to help us through it all next week. So do join us for that. Until then, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreescaro.com, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro, subscribe to us on iTunes, and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.